My name is Christian van Heestien. I am the general manager of Saronsberg Winery in Tulbagh. This is my family estate. The farm has been in the family for 20 years next year. 22 years. We're doing our 21st harvest next year. And if I can tell you just a little bit about it. So this farm is historically it was part of the farm next door, which is today known as Krone. They are today the biggest Cup Classique producers, sparkling wine producers in South Africa. About 80 years ago or so, the grandfather divided the two farms, between that farm, which was the wine farm, and this farm, which was at the time the fruit farm. To the best of my knowledge, as far as I know, this particular farm is the second oldest wine farm in South Africa after Constantia. So they started at Constantia and then they moved out all the way to Tulbagh, and then they started making wine where we are today. So there's quite a lot of heritage and history here. So grapes have been grown on this farm since the late 1600s. So that is over 300 years now. There's been wine made on this farm. Anyway, so it was a fruit farm. It went bankrupt. It was under liquidation, so my father bought it on an auction in 2002. But then about 3 months after my dad took ownership of the farm, we had one of the biggest wildfires that Tulbagh has ever seen, and the majority of the farm burned down. Luckily, most of the buildings went unscathed and no people were hurt. But most of the fruit trees, most of the vineyards, was burnt to nothing. So that was quite a big shock at the time. So then my dad decided, he thought, it's a sign. We must do something. We must build a cellar, plant vineyards. So we planted about 55. Over the years, we planted about 55 hectares of vineyards. So that's what we have. Most of it is Shiraz. And then, of course, in 2003, we built this winery, the cellar we're in, which consists of, a cellar where we make the wine. This, which we see here, our maturation cellar, which is full of barrels. At the moment, we're busy blending, but typically there's over 1,000 barrels in here. And then also we have a tasting room and an art gallery. And over the years, we've even built guest accommodation so people can come out and experience Tulbagh, experience Saronsberg for themselves. We focus on Shiraz. The reason for that is Tulbagh has what we'd like to call a Mediterranean type climate, similar to what you should find in the south of France, which is Shiraz's home. So we've got cold, wet winters, and we've got hot, dry summers. So we thought Shiraz would be suited to this area, but we also have other vineyards. We have 5 of the red Bordeaux varieties. We have a handful of white varieties, but mostly Shiraz. About half our plantings are Shiraz. Strong points when it comes to making good quality wine is that we have 2 different farms in Tulbagh. So the farm we're on now is called Vikrant, which is closer to the center of the valley, if I can put it like that. And then the other farm is called Vikrant, which is against the mountainside. Yet on the mountainside, we have about 1,100 millimeters of rain a year. And at the other sides in the vineyards, we have between 500 and 600 millimeters. So even though there's a relatively short distance, there's a massive difference in rainfall. The soils are very different. Obviously, the grapes on the mountain don't get as much afternoon sun because it's shielded by the mountain. At any given time, it's probably between 2 and 5 degrees cooler up there than it is here. So when it comes to blending time, the winemaker has so much more to choose from. They just have lots of different components. They can make their own blend. They can choose things to blend with each other that complement each other. So that's probably one of our strongest points. And then, of course, we do well when we enter competitions. We are, according to me, probably one of the most consistently awarded wine farms, especially for our red wines in South Africa. We can show you all the medals we win. We stick them on the bottles every year. So consistency is important. When somebody buys a wine today, it must taste the same as when they bought the same wine 5 years ago, even though there's different vintages and stuff in between. It must be synonymous with quality, and I think we are that. By early in the morning, I mean at around 3:30 in the morning we begin, because by 11 o'clock in Tulbagh in February, it could be 40 degrees, which is bad for the people who are doing the work, and it's bad for the grapes themselves. The grapes degrade faster, they oxidize, they start fermenting by themselves almost. And they're softer, so they're more vulnerable to being squeezed. So we harvest early in the morning, the grapes come in, they go straight to the force cooler. They get cooled to 4 degrees Celsius. We have had probably one of the wettest winters. The whole Cape will tell you we've had one of the wettest winters in many, many years, possibly even decades. Luckily, we didn't have too much flood damage. I know a lot of other regions had some flood damage. We escaped the worst of it, but it's still a very wet year. So we'll see how that translates into the harvest. But it looks like it's going to be a good harvest, so I'm excited about that. So in our case, it's quite a big bonus to have the hospitality on the site, because we are not in Durbanville or Constantia, which is right on Cape Town's doorstep. Even though we're not that far, we're an hour and a half from Cape Town, and it's perfectly easy to come do a day trip to Tulbagh. A lot of people would like to think, okay, I'm going to drive an hour and a half in the car, let's make a weekend of it, or let's come for a little bit longer, let's see what Tulbagh has to offer. So there's a lot of accommodation throughout Tulbagh, and for the last 10 or so years we've had our own accommodation, self-catering accommodation. My wife actually runs it, she does a very good job. So we have 16 units. People can come out, rent a unit, spend a weekend here. We have indoor and outdoor braai facilities, so they can entertain themselves, lots of space, beautiful surroundings. They can come, take their time, experience the winery, all our wines. They can come take a look at our art gallery, they can explore Tulbagh. And then on top of that, we also have a conference facilities. So a lot of the biggest corporates in South Africa, they love coming here for doing their conferences here. You know, it's something a little bit different, and it's less commercial than many places. We also have a wedding venue. So almost every Saturday in the summer we have weddings, and that's good for us. It brings people to the farm. It's exposure for the brand. So yeah, hospitality is very important. Is what we start off with. It is our Cup Classique sparkling wine. So Cup Classique is the South African term basically for method champenois. Means it's made just like French champagne, but we can't say that. And it's a Blanc de Blanc, which means it's 100% Chardonnay. So all the grapes are grown on the farm. And it's a brut, of course, which means it's dry. And we actually, in the back of our warehouse, we have 2011 that's still on the lease.
Still on the lease. Okay.
So 10 years later. So every now and then we disgorge a little bit, and the taste is amazing. We call it the Earth in Motion Chenin Blanc. The reason for that is, I don't know if you're aware, but Tulbagh had a pretty big earthquake in 1969. It's actually the biggest recorded earthquake in South African history.
69.
In 69. So the whole town was destroyed. So some of our wines, we kind of try to link the names or a bit back to the heritage and the history. So that was quite devastating at the time, but Tulbagh rebuilt was quite long ago, and every now and then we still feel tremors. So you'd be sitting in the office or in front of the TV or something, and the earth would shake for like 5 seconds. Yeah, it was that the big one was 6.3 on the Richter scale. So it's pretty intense.
Yes.
So this is actually the only vineyard on the whole farm that we didn't replace, that we kept from the previous owners. So these particular vineyards were planted in 1999. So we call this our Provenance Shiraz. So the Provenance is just a name, which means like origin, or where something is from. So as I said earlier, we have the two different sites. This is mainly from the mountainside. So if you look through the window, you might see some vineyards there against the mountainside. All the green you see, that is our vineyards. So different terroir, different rainfall, no afternoon sun, less afternoon sun, a little bit cooler. So we get bigger, juicier grapes there. That's good for this, which we want to be a more fruity, elegant, easy drinking wine. Yeah. And this is become the most popular or the best-selling Shiraz in South Africa. So we just have two taxes. The one is the VAT, which is 15%, and then we have excise duty, just what we call the sin tax, which we pay. And on a 750 ml bottle of still wine, it's about R4 a bottle. So it's not that much. But we can claim back the VAT that we pay on our input. Yes. It's important for us to enter competitions every year, because then you can show the customer this is, some of the top wine judges in the world think this is a good wine. So it's an important marketing tool.
My last name is Joubert, and Tradauw is the valley. And we have one of the farms that we have is called Tradauw. So I combined the two names. And Wingerde and Kelder. Wingerde means vineyards and Kelder means wine cellar. In French it's Joubert. Joubert Tradauw. But the funny thing is that it's an old French word and a Khoisan word, a traditional Khoisan word. But it sounds French. Tradauw, it sounds French, but it's Khoisan. Tradauw is derived from a traditional Khoisan expression. It means footpath of the woman. It's derived from a Khoisan word, Tara's Dua. Tara means woman and Dua is road. And but there were no private wine cellars. Okay, manne, sien julle môre. So there were no private estates. For instance, that field there, that was a block of Hermitage. It's now we do veggies and onions. First we'll show you. So no private wine estates, no focus on premium wines. But we planted a lot of grapes. We had about 40 hectares under Chardonnay, Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Cabernet Franc. And the grapes always went to the co-op. But the co-op then, the industry in South Africa, we call it the cooperative industry, I would say from the late 60s till early 2008, 10,
Right.
they really struggled financially because they couldn't make, they made fantastic wines,
Yeah.
but they couldn't sell their wines
Okay.
because it was not private. There was no
Yeah.
personality like
Yeah.
Audi
Yeah.
or Ristenvrede or Hamilton Russell or
Yeah.
Ataraxia. No storyline. It was just vineyards all over the valley, and
Yeah.
the focus was obviously for the farmer to survive financially.
Yeah.
He went for the maximum production per hectare.
Okay.
So then the co-ops had an initiative where they say, we want you only to produce 8 tons from this block of Cabernet Sauvignon or Shiraz or Chardonnay. We will give you a premium on your grapes.
Okay.
Then they make fantastic wines, but the wines never sold.
No.
So they
Don't have
struggle.
any personality to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then I was young and I was a student and I traveled through Europe. I studied viticulture and fruit science,
Yes.
and I went on an exchange program to California.
Okay.
I ended up in Napa Valley, got a very good job there, and while working there I realized that the potential here of our climate, because I know the climate, I've got a weather station, the soils, and I came back and I decided that I know that the future with me and the co-op, it's a dead end.
Yes.
So I renovated an old building and built a small little cellar which you will go down on. And I've started introducing new clones, new varieties of Chardonnay. I decided my focus will be on Chardonnay, and I introduced Shiraz.
Right.
And so yeah, tonight or this later, now you'll taste the wines. So what's happening now is that the next 15 years is to bring back the grapes again.
Yes.
I'm replanting, which I'm showing you now,
Yes.
and I've done research on the climate now. We've realized, and we knew it all the time, that in the world of wine, there are only few pockets of magic or excellence in terms of the climate and the soil. And funny enough, although this is the only private wine cellar in this
Yeah.
small valley,
Okay.
this is a pocket of excellence and world-class microclimate.
Oh, you mean this is the only winery in this region?
The only
Okay.
one
Okay.
in this small valley.
Okay.
The valley, you see that mountain there? That's called Misty Points. From there, if you look down, there's a small block of Merlot.
Yes.
That big block next to the Merlot, now it's nectarines. That was a big block of beautiful Shiraz.
Yeah.
There was Chardonnay. Over there was Hermitage. It was just grapes, the whole valley. 8 years Capensis. I don't know if you heard about the brand Capensis. It's a 1,200 rand bottle Chardonnay. They buy from me Chardonnay. Molyneux has bought Chardonnay from me. Now I'm doing a project for a wine. It's called Survivor. Their premium range. They've just won an award for best white wine at the Trophy Wine Show, Michael Friedger, and they got 98 points. And the Chardonnay is my Chardonnay. So this is south facing. The mother rock formation here is shale, which is similar to Burgundy and regions in the Rhone Valley.
Yes.
This is Albrino and this is Chardonnay. This is a new project, and this is fresh water. No underground water, rainwater running from the mountain, and it comes down with a canal and pipes into these dams. So when this one is full, it runs over to the other dams. Yeah. And comes from the mountain. It's a 1 kilometer canal, a cement canal. It comes down and runs into here. These cows are Black Angus. So I'll show you now why they are here. We make compost and manure through them, and we put it in the vineyards. I think, see that one there? That's a newborn. I think that one came today. The soil in this valley changes a lot from one place to another. I mean, yeah, this is pears.
Yes.
The soil here is completely different from the soil up there.
Okay.
The soil here is deep, fertile clay, and look at the volume on the tree. This is 65 tons from 1 hectare. We're picking in 2 weeks' time. It's for export. Let me see which way I'll go now. That's straight. The blocks are scattered all over the farm. There's Cabernet Franc. This is the wine cellar.
Okay.
We're going to have a tasting now. Just want to show you one more vineyard.
Yes.
A beautiful vineyard, Shiraz.
And what's the major fruit apart from the vineyard?
Pears. Pears and nectarines. So, it's easier to farm fruit and seed and to survive financially.
Yes.
A lot easier because the grapes, the wine you must sell,
yeah.
and that means marketing.
Marketing.
And I don't have time for marketing. They say market. It's not about marketing. Is you have to be a good bullshitter.
Yes.
I struggle to bullshit a bit, and and I love farming, so
Yeah,
I don't travel enough.
Yeah.
This is Chardonnay. We will taste Chardonnay from this vineyard. This is a beautiful vineyard. So the soil, the frost. If there was Chardonnay left of the road, the frost will kill it because it settles in the valley floor. It's an extreme site. Extreme meaning it's against the desert, very dry, the air. There's some cool air moving in the afternoons. The challenge here is the baboons because they live there and they come in the very early morning when the grapes start to ripen. They come and they pick the grapes. Starting now, because in the old days the whole valley was full of vineyards.
Okay.
So the bird problem was everyone shared the damage. Now I'm the only one with the grapes. All the birds come here. The reason for planting this road direction, all the fruit, all the vineyards, is for the wind
to pass
through, to cool the vineyards. The pear trees are, and the apple trees and the nectarines, we do get frost there. But up here we don't get frost in the springtime. So we have ice cold winters. We get a bit of snow on the top of the mountain where the clouds are. We get snow in wintertime, 3 to 4 times. So very cold in winter. And but that's good for the fruit because they go into a good rest. And then October is our rain season where we get a bit of rain in the valley floor, lots of rain in the mountain. November warms up. November is nice and warm, and then the southeaster starts to blow in the beginning, end of November, beginning December. So this is the southeaster, south wind, southeaster wind, and it blows in the afternoons, December, January, February, March, and then towards beginning March, mid-March, the southeaster will start calming down, and then we start into, and then the night temperatures are very, very cool in March. March is our harvest month. The main harvest month of the grapes in this Tradauw Valley is in March. Very cool nights. So days we'll have an average day temperature of 32 degrees Celsius, 31. Now and then we might have a 34, 36, not many. But then the night temperature drops down to 10, 9, 8 degrees Celsius. Slow ripening and even ripening, small berries. And we pick from mid-March till mid and end of April.
Okay.
And then May starts getting cold again. And then we're heading into winter again. We had good rain in the winter. Very good rain, but not nearly as intense as the Cape and Stellenbosch and Hermanus. The flood Hermanus had now a month ago, we had about 80 mils of rain. It was beautiful, no damage. Perfect, yeah. Okay. Because we are literally, this is where the desert starts, but the mountain is creating the magic here. It's creating the cool air to flow over. It's also our catchment area where we get the water from to the reservoirs. We're going to drive over the reservoir now. You see the size of them. They're full now. We're midsummer, our dams are full. So the potential here is enormous because our diurnal difference in the second part of summer, which is February, March, April, is more than 20 degrees Celsius. It relates to some of the top regions in the world to make Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, Chenin Blanc, Chardonnay. Not Sauvignon Blanc, because Sauvignon Blanc, we've had Sauvignon Blanc in the old days, but Sauvignon Blanc ripens very early. So January, end of January is the time when Sauvignon Blanc ripens. We get spikes of warm day temperatures, which you lose quite a bit of the flavor. The methoxyperoxines get lost with the Sauvignon Blancs. So we get a brilliant year of Sauvignon Blanc and then another year not so great. So I decided focus on the later varieties, and for me the ideal variety, which I love, is Chardonnay, which you will taste now. Earthy, minerally, citrusy because of the slow ripening. Yeah. And the shale and the clay, we get not massive yields, average yields of between 8 and 12 tons per hectare. But in terms of farming, I mean, look how healthy these young vines are. Beautiful. And we don't have to spray for powdery mildew. We only spray for iridium, which is just incredible. I've done, so far till today, I've done only 5 sprays of only sulfur dioxide, water suitable. That's it, 5 sprays. And I've got no disease in the vineyards. So it's magic. And compared to fruit farming, we do fruit, we do apples and pears and nectarines. But the pears and nectarines and the apples are on the deep, in the valley floor where the soils are too fertile for farming grapes. So we go on the medium high, medium low potential soils because the focus is on super quality. Super quality, yeah. I'm not utilizing all the grapes for myself. We're selling grapes to a few brands. We used to have 45 hectares of vineyards. I pulled out all the old vineyards and I'm in the process of replanting. So now we only have about 15. I planted 4 this year. Next year I'm planting Cabernet Sauvignon. So we're going to plant from now on every year. So winemaking here is traditional winemaking. We pick by hand, crusty stem, fermentation, hand punch down, open top, and that's the crusher destemmer. It's an old press, old Wilmers, and then I love settling the lees, and then the wine I'm settling maybe 2 weeks, depending on how much space, and then 2 barrels, and 3 rackings, rack and return 3 times from barrel, and then straight in the bottle, no filtration, no fining, no filtration, no. This used to be the house of the previous owner, and we turned it into a little kitchen. And in winter we have fireplace and people drink wine here.